The Book of 1 Timothy. Paul, an emissary of Yahusha Mashiach, according to a command of Yahuah our deliverer, and of the Master Yahusha Mashiach, our expectation, to Timothy, a genuine child, in the belief, favor, compassion, peace from Yahuah our Father, and Yahusha Mashiach our Master. As I appealed to you when I went in to Macedonia, to remain in Ephesus, in order to command some not to teach differently, nor to pay attention to fables and endless genealogies, which cause disputes, rather than an administration of Yahuah which is in belief. Now the goal of this command is love, from a clean heart, from a good conscience and a sincere belief, which some, having missed the goal, turned aside to senseless talk, wishing to be teachers of Torah, understanding neither what they say nor concerning what they strongly affirm. And we know that the Torah is good if one uses it legitimately. Knowing this, the Torah is not laid down for a righteous being, but for the lawless and unruly, for the wicked and for sinners, for the wrongdoers and for profane, for those who kill their fathers or mothers, for murderers, for those who whore, for arsenics, for kidnappers, for liars, for perjurers, and for whatever else that is contrary to sound teaching, according to the esteemed Besorah of the blessed Yahuah, which was entrusted to me. And I thank Master Yahusha for our Master, who empowered me, because he counted me trustworthy, putting me into service, although I was formerly a blasphemer, and a persecutor, and an insulter. But compassion has shown me, because, being ignorant, I did it in unbelief. And the favor of our Master was exceedingly increased, with belief and love which are in Mashiach Yahusha. Trustworthy is the word, and worthy of all acceptance, that Yahusha Mashiach came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am foremost. But because of this I received compassion, so that in me first Yahusha Mashiach might display all patience as an example to those who are going to believe on him for everlasting life. Now the sovereign of the ages, incorruptible, invisible, to Yahuah, who alone is wise, be respect and esteem forever and ever. Amen. This charge I entrust to you, son Timothy, according to the prophecies previously made concerning you, that by them you might wage the good campaign, having belief and good conscience, which some have thrust aside and suffered shipwreck concerning their belief. Among these are Humanios and Alexander, whom I delivered to Shaitan in order to be taught not to blaspheme. For of all, then, I urge that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all men, for sovereigns, and all those who are in authority, in order that we lead a calm and peaceful life in all reverence and seriousness. For this is good and acceptable before Yahuah our deliverer, who desires all men to be delivered and to come to knowledge of the truth. For there is one Yahuah, and one mediator between Yahuah and men, the man Mashiach Yahusha, who gave himself a ransom for all, to be witnessed in its own seasons, for which I was appointed a proclaimer and an emissary. I am speaking the truth in Mashiach and not lying, a teacher of the nations in belief and truth. So I resolve that the men pray everywhere, lifting up hands, and are set apart, without wrath and disputing. Likewise, that the women dress themselves becomingly, with decency and sensibleness, not with braided hair, or gold or pearls, or costly garments, with the good works which is becoming for women undertake in worship of Yahuah. Let a woman learn to silence, in all subjection. But I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man, rather to be silenced, because Adam was formed first, then Kuah. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman, having been deceived, fell into transgression. But she shall be delivered in childbearing, if they continue in belief and love and kodeshness, with sensibleness. Trustworthy is the word, if a man longs for the position of an overseer, he desires a good work. An overseer, then, should be blameless, the husband of the woman, sober, sensible, orderly, kind to strangers, able to teach, not given to wine, no brawler, but gentle, not quarrelsome, no lover of money, one who rules his own house, well, having children in subjection with all reverence. For if a man does not know how to rule his own house, how shall he look after the assembly of Yahuah? Not a new convert, lest he become puffed up with pride and fall into the judgment of the devil. And he should even have good witness from those who are outside, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Likewise, attendants are to be reverent, no double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy for filthy gain, holding the secret of the belief with a clean conscience. And let these also be proved first, then let them serve, if they are unreprovable. Wives, in the same way, reverent, not false accusers, sober, trustworthy in every way. Let attendants be the husbands of only one woman, ruling children and their own houses well. For those who have served well as attendants gain good standing for themselves and much boldness in belief. That is in Yahusha Mashiach. I am writing you this, expecting to come to you shortly. But if I delay, that you might know how you should behave in the house of Yahuah, which is the assembly of the living Yahuah, a strong support and a foundation of the truth. And, beyond all question, the secret of reverence is great. Who has revealed in the flesh, declared right in Ruach, was seen by messengers, was proclaimed among nations, was believed in the world, was taken up in esteem. But the Ruach distinctly says that in latter times some shall fall away from the belief, paying attention to misleading winds and teaching of demons, speaking lies of hypocrisy, having been branded on their own conscience, forbidding to marry, saying to abstain from foods which Yahuah created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth, because every creature of Yahuah is good, and none is to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving, for it is set apart by the word of Yahuah and prayer. If you present these things to the brothers, you shall be a good servant of Yahusha Mashiach, being nourished in the words of belief and of good teachings which you have followed closely. But refuse profane and old wife fables, and exercise yourselves rather to reverence. For bodily exercise is profitable for a little, but reverence is profitable for all, having promise of the present life and of that which is to come. Trustworthy is the word, and worthy of all acceptance. It is for that we labor and struggle, because we trust in the living Yahuah, who is the deliverer of all men, particularly of those who believe, order to teach these things. Let no one look down on your youth, but be an example to the believers in word, in behavior, in love, in ruach, and belief, in cleanliness. Until I come, give attention to reading the writings, to encouragement, to teaching. Do not neglect the gift that is in you, which was given to you by prophecy with the laying of on the hands of the elderhood. Practice these things, give yourself entirely to them, so that your progress might be plain to all. Pay attention to yourself and to the teachings. Continue in them, for in doing this you shall save both yourself and those who hear you. Do not rebuke an older man, but appeal to him as a father, younger ones as brothers, elderly women as mothers, younger ones as sisters, in all cleanliness. Respect widows who are truly widows, but if any widow has children or grandchildren, let them first learn to treat their own house reverently, to repay their parents, for this is good and acceptable before Yahuah. And she who is truly a widow and left alone trusts in Yahuah and continues in petitions and prayers night and day, but she who is living in luxury is dead while she lives. And command these things in order for them to be blameless. And if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his own household, he has denied the belief and is worse than an unbeliever. Do not enroll a widow unless she is over 60 years of age, having been the woman of one man, well reported for good works, if she has brought up children, if she has lodged strangers, if she has washed the feet of the Kodashim, if she has assisted the afflicted, if she has closely followed every good work, but refused the younger widows. For when they become headstrong against the Mashiach, they desire to marry, having guilt because they set aside their first belief. Moreover, they learn to be idle, going about from house to house, and not only idle, but also gossips and busybodies, speaking what is improper. So I resolve that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house, giving no occasion to the adversary for reviling. For already some have turned aside after Shaitan. If any believing man or woman has widows, let such assist them, and do not let the assembly be burdened in order to assist those who are truly widows. Let the elder who rule well be counted worthy and double payment, especially those who labor in the word of teaching. For the scripture says, "You shall not muzzle an ox while it treads out the grain, and the laborer is worthy of his wages." Do not receive an accusation against an elder except from 2 or 3 witnesses. Reprove those who are sinning in the presence of all, so that the rest also might fear. I earnestly witness before Yahuah and Master Yahusha Mashiach and the chosen messengers that you watch over these things without prejudice, doing none at all with partiality. Do not lay hands on anyone hastily, nor share in sins of others. Keep yourself clean. No longer drink only water, but use a little wine for your stomach's sake and your frequent ailments. The sins of some men are obvious, leading on to judgment, but those of some men will follow later. In the same way, the good works are obvious, while it is impossible to conceal those who are otherwise. Let those who are servants under a yoke regard their own masters worthy of all respect, lest the name of Yahuah and his teaching be blasphemed. And those who have believing masters, let them not disregard them because they are brothers, but rather serve them because they are believing and beloved ones, and those receiving the good service in return. Teach and urge these things. If anyone teaches differently and does not agree with the sound word of the Master Yahusha Mashiach and teaching, which is in accordance to reverence, he is puffed up, understanding none at all, but is sick about questionings and verbal battles, from which come envy, strife, slander, wicked suspicions, worthless disputes of men in corrupt minds and deprived of the truth, who think that reverence is means of gain. Withdraw from such. But reverence with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and it is impossible to take any out. When we have food and covering, we shall be satisfied with these. But those wishing to be rich fall into trial and a snare, and into many foolish and injurious lusts, which plunge men in ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some, by longing for it, have strayed from the belief, and pierced themselves through with many pains. But you, man of Yahuah, flee from all this and pursue righteousness, reverence, belief, love, endurance, meekness. Fight the good fight of belief, lay hold on everlasting life, to which you were also called and have confessed the good confession before many witnesses, in the sight of Yahuah, who gives life to all, and of Yahusha Mashiach, who witnessed the good confession before Pontius Pilate. I charge you that you guard the command spotlessly, blamelessly, until the appearing of our Master Yahusha Mashiach, which is in his own seasons he shall reveal, the blessed and only ruler, the sovereign of sovereigns and master of masters, who alone has immortality, dwelling in unreproachable light, whom no one has seen, and is able to see, to whom be respect and everlasting might. Amen. Charge those who are rich in this present age not to be high-minded, nor to trust in the uncertainty of riches, but in the living Yahuah, who gives us richly for enjoyment, to be rich in good works, to be generous, ready to share, storing up for themselves a good foundation for the time to come, so that they lay hold on everlasting life. O Timothy, watch that which has been entrusted to you, turning aside from the profane and empty babblings and contradictions of the falsely called knowledge, which some have professed it, have missed the goal concerning the belief. Favor be with you. Amen.